Okay, hey guys, what's up? Today I'm gonna be letting you hear two videos based on Smile Dog, which something creepy like it's in my house or something. I found it about a year ago. That was nice.
That went on the floor, put it in the...
Okay, I will.
Right now.
Okay. There's one's called the Smile Dog and one called Smile Dog. The Smile Dog and Smile Dog. Hope you enjoy. Like my video and subscribe.
You've heard of Smile Dog, right? That terrifying picture of a husky smiling in a demonic way? Yeah, that one. Well, I was looking at internet memes and scary stories a few months ago. I stumbled across an urban legend video which I found interesting. I watched the video and it told of a few basic facts about spontaneous human combustion and sleep paralysis. The video also contained a couple of screamers to kill the mood a little. The end story was of Smile Dog. It simply presented the picture and told the viewer the legend. I researched it a bit more and found it to be terrifying but quite cool. I began talking about it to my friends in school the next day. It turned out something of a common interest. People would often use it jokingly, like in a history lesson our teacher told us. He collapsed on the floor. My friend leaned towards me and said, "I guess he saw Smile Dog." And it would often make us laugh. We then found other stories such as Red Mist or Squidward's suicide, Candle Cove. And then we dropped the subject of Smile Dog for a while after that. In our school we often talked to this boy. And his name was Michael. He was a strange child. He never spoke to us and he would often keep to himself. He had no idea where he would be at lunchtime. He wouldn't be hanging out with us, but we found it not to be of our concern. He'd often leave lessons early to visit a hospital as he was a rather sickly child. He told me only a few of his afflictions, the most noticeable being epilepsy and schizophrenia. He never showed signs of these, though. If we mentioned them, he would often laugh it off and dismiss them. He approached me one day and inquired about Smile Dog. I replied, "Oh, that thing? Yeah, it's obviously fake."
Can I see it?
I didn't save it or anything. But, just look it up, okay? I was busy with homework at the time, and when people try to talk to me, I'm rather irritable. He walked off without looking back. But I didn't see Michael the next day. He was supposed to be in a few of our lessons, but he wasn't there. Nobody, not even the teachers, knew where he was. It was after our first lesson. I was called into the headmaster's office. The headmaster sat me down in front of his desk and told me, "Your friend Michael has been instated to a mental institution. He apparently saw something scary and kept having visions of it. Have you any idea what that might be?"
I'll lay down and cool off a minute.
I immediately remembered Smile
Johnny
Dog.
back.
Yes, sir. The headmaster immediately brought up his computer, and I was faced with the Google search engine. I changed the search to images and typed in Smile Dog. I showed the headmaster the full, unedited image of Smile Dog. "Oh my," he said, and told me that Michael would probably want to see me. He immediately arranged for transport for me to the mental institute. I entered the colossal building with the headmaster, where we were stopped by a doctor. He said, "Michael only wants his friend, I'm afraid." The headmaster gave me a bewildered look, and I said, "That's fine. I'll see you in a few minutes." I strolled down the large, intimidating corridor and reached room 204. The room had a padded floor, a wall, and a light, No windows except a minuscule viewing slot through the door. I walked in and almost vomited. Michael was lying face down in the middle of the room with his hands still gripped tight on his neck. He was dead. There was a hastily scrawled note left next to him. It was for me.
Josh, I saw that smile dog picture that you showed me. It's everywhere. No matter what we do, it can't be stopped. It appears in the brightest moments of your life. It'll always be marching, never moving. It will not go away. Why did they have to put me in this room? Why do I have to be trapped in this godforsaken room? I had no escape. No matter how much I kicked off, the doctors wouldn't believe me. This was the only way out, I guess. But what if the dog is still there during death? When you're weak or incapacitated, it'll drag you down to hell from where it once came. This is the reality, Josh. Do not ever mention Smile Dog to anyone ever again. Sincerely, Michael.
I pocketed the note and alerted the doctors. Upon further inspection of his body, his hand was blocking a horrifying, vicious bite into his neck. The teeth marks matched that of a dog's. A Siberian husky. I keep going over and over that note in my head. I can't believe it. He was such a nice boy, and I regret every bad thing I ever said to him. Why did it have to end this way for him? There's a small part in my head saying that I'm responsible, and another portion of my head believes that this is all just fake, and I should have been more aware of Michael's afflictions. The only trouble is, I'm running out of options to believe here. And I didn't know that schizophrenia was contagious. But I keep seeing that damn little dog in the corner of my eye everywhere I go. It's starting to get on my nerves. Wait a minute. Is that? No. I hear panting and scratching at my door. Let me go investigate. I'll be back in a second. Spread the word.
My next demonstration, I've enlisted the help of my two lovely assistants.
I first met in person with Mary E. in the summer of 2007. I had arranged with her husband of 15 years, Terrence, to see her for an interview. Mary had initially agreed. Since I was not a newsman but rather an amateur writer gathering information for a few early college assignments, and if all went according to plan, some pieces of fiction. We scheduled the interview for a particular weekend when I was in Chicago on unrelated business, but at the last moment, Mary changed her mind and locked herself in the couple's bedroom, refusing to meet with me. For half an hour, I sat with Terrence as we camped outside the bedroom door. I listened and taking notes while he attempted to fruitlessly calm his wife. The things Mary said made little sense but fit the pattern I was expecting. Though I could not see her, I could tell from her voice that she was crying. And more often than not, her objections to speak with me centered around an incoherent diatribe on her dreams, her nightmares. Terrence apologized profusely when we ceased the exercise, and I did my best to take it in stride. Recalled that I wasn't a reporter in search of a story, but merely a curious young man in search of information. Besides, I thought at the time I could perhaps find another, similar case if I put my mind and resources to it. Mary E. was the recipient of a small Chicago-based bulletin board system in 1992 when she first entered encountered smile.jpg, and her life changed forever. She and Terrence had been married for only 5 months. Mary was one of an estimated 400 people who saw the image, and it was posted on a hyperlinks in the BBS, though she was the only one who had spoken openly about the experience. The rest have remained anonymous, or perhaps dead. In 2005, when I was only in the 10th grade, smile.jpg was first brought to my attention by beginning interest in web-based phenomena. Mary was the only often cited victim of what is sometimes referred to as smile.dog, the being smile.jpg is reputed to display. What caught my interest, other than the obvious macabre elements of the cyber legend and my proclivity towards such things, was the sheer lack of information, usually to the point that people don't believe it even existed, other than a rumor or a hoax. It is unique because, though the entire phenomena centers around a picture file, the file is nowhere to be found on the internet. Certainly many photo-manipulated simulacra litter the web, showing up with the most frequency on sites such as the image board 4chan, particularly the X-focused paranormal subboard. It is suspected that these are fakes because they do not have the effect the true smile.jpg is believed to have, namely sudden onset temporal lobe epilepsy and acute anxiety. This purported reaction in the viewer is one of the reasons the phantom-like smile.jpg is referred with such disdain. Since it is patently absurd, though, depending on whom you ask, the reluctance to acknowledge smile.jpg's existence might be just as much out of fear as it is out of disbelief. Neither smile.jpg nor smile.dog is mentioned anywhere on Wikipedia, though the website features articles on such other, perhaps more scandalous shock sites as hello.jpg or 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Any attempt to create a page pertaining to smile.jpg is summarily deleted by any of the encyclopedia's many admins. Encounters with smile.jpg are stuff of internet legends. Mary E.'s story is not unique. There are unverified rumors of smile.jpg showing up on the early days of Usenet, and even one precedent tale that is in 2002, a hacker flooded the forums of a humor and satire website, Something Awful, with a deluge of smile.dog pictures, rendering almost half the forum's users at the time epileptic. It's also said that the mid-late 90s, the smile.jpg circulated on the Usenet as an attach of a chain email with the subject line, "Smile, God loves you." Yet despite the huge exposure these stunts would generate, there are very few people who admit to having experienced any of them, and no trace of the file or any link has ever been discovered. Those who claim to have seen smile.jpg often weakly joke that they were far too busy to save a copy of the picture to their hard drives. However, all alleged victims offer the same description of a photo. A dog-like creature, usually described as appearing similar to a Siberian husky, illuminated by the flash of a camera, sits in a dimly lit room. The only background detail is a visible human hand extending from the darkest corner of the left side of the frame. The hand is empty, but usually described as beckoning. Of course, most attention is given to the dog, or dog creature, as some victims are more certain than others about what they are claiming to see. The muzzle of the beast is reputedly split in a wide grin, revealing 2 rows of very white teeth. Very white, very straight, very sharp, very human-looking teeth. This is, of course, not a description given immediately after viewing the picture, but rather a recollection of the victim, who claim to have seen the picture endlessly repeated in their mind's eye during the time that they are, in reality, having epileptic fits. These fits are reported to continue indeterminately, often while the victim sleeps, resulting in very vivid and very disturbing nightmares. These may be treated with medication, though in some instances it is more effective than others. Mary E., I assume, was not on effective medication. That is why, after my visit to her apartment in 2007, I sent out feelers to several folklore and urban legend-oriented news groups, websites, and mailing lists, hoping to find the name of a supposed victim of Smile.jpg who felt more interested in talking about his experiences. For a time, nothing happened, and at length I forgot completely about my pursuit, since I had begun my freshman year of college and was quite busy. Mary contacted me via email, however, near the beginning of March 2008.
Dear Mr. L, I'm incredibly sorry about my behavior last summer when you came to interview me. I hope you understand that it was no fault of yours, but rather my own problems that led me to act out as I did. I realized I could have handled the situation more decorously. However, I hope you will forgive me. At the time, I was afraid. You see, for 15 years I've been haunted by Smile.jpg. Smile.dog comes to me in my sleep every night. I know it sounds silly, but it's true. There is an ineffable quality about my dreams, my nightmares, that makes it completely unlike any real dreams I have ever had. I do not move and do not speak. I simply look ahead, and the only thing that's ahead of me is the scene from that horrible picture. I see the beckoning hand, and I see the Smile.dog. It talks to me. It's not a dog, of course. I'm not quite sure really what it is. It tells me that it'll leave me alone, if only if I do what it asks. All I must do, it says, is spread the word. That's how it phrases its demands, and I know exactly what it means. It wants me to show it to someone else. And I could. The week after my incident, I received in the mail a manila envelope with no return address. Inside was only a 3.5-inch floppy diskette. Without having to check, I knew precisely what was on it. I thought for a long time about my options. I could show it to a stranger, a co-worker. I could even show it to Terrence, as much as the idea disgusted me. And what would happen then? Well, the Smile.dog kept its word. I could sleep. Yet, if it lied, what would I do? And who is to say something worse would not come for me if I did as the creature asked? So I did nothing for 15 years, though I kept this diskette hidden amongst my things. Every night for 15 years, Smile.dog has come to me in my sleep and demanded that I spread the word. For 15 years I've stood strong, though there have been hard times. Many of my fellow victims on the BBS board, when I first encountered Smile.jpg, stopped posting. I heard some of them committed suicide. Others remained completely silent, simply disappearing off the face of the web. They are the ones I worry about the most. I sincerely hope you forgive me, Mr. L. The last summer when you contacted me and my husband about an interview, I was near the breaking point. I decided I was going to give you the floppy diskette. I did not care if Smile.dog was lying or not. I wanted it to end. You are a stranger, someone I had no connection with, and I thought you would not feel sorrow when you took the diskette as part of your research and sealed your fate. Before you arrived, I realized what I was doing. I was plotting to ruin your life. I could not stand the thought. In fact, I still cannot. I am ashamed, Mr. L. And I hope that this warning will dissuade you from further investigation of Smile.jpg. You may in time encounter someone who is, if not weaker than I, then wholly more depraved, someone who will not hesitate to follow Smile.dog's orders. Stop while you're still whole. Sincerely, Mary E.
Terrence contacted me later that month with news that his wife had killed herself. While cleaning up the various things she'd left behind, closing email accounts and the like, he happened upon the above message. He was a man in shambles. He wept as he told me that he listened to his wife's advice. He'd found the diskette, he revealed, and burned it until it was nothing but a stinking pile of blackened plastic. The part that most disturbed him, however, was how the diskette had hissed while it melted. Like some sort of animal, he said. I will admit that I was a little uncertain about how to respond to this. At first I thought it was a joke, with the couple belatedly playing with the situation in order to get a rise out of me. A quick check of several Chicago newspapers' online obituaries, however, proved that Mary E. was indeed dead. There was, of course, no mention of suicide in the article. I decided that, for a time at least, I would no longer pursue the subject of smile.jpg, especially since I had finals coming up at the end of May. But the world has odd ways of testing us. Almost a full year after I'd returned from my disastrous interview with Mary E., I received another email.
Hello, I found your email through a mailing list. Your profile says you're interested in smile.dog. I have saw it, and it is not as bad as everyone says. I have sent it to you, just spreading the word. Smiley face.
The final line chilled me to the bone. According to my email client, there was one file attached, called naturally smile.jpg. I considered downloading it for some time. It was most likely a fake, I imagined, and even if it wasn't, I was never wholly convinced of smile.jpg's particular powers. Mary E's account had shaken me, yes, but she was probably mentally unbalanced anyway. After all, how could a simple image do what smile.jpg was said to accomplish? What sort of creature was it that could break one's mind with only the power of the eye? And even if such things were patently absurd, then why did legends even exist at all? If I downloaded the image, if I looked at it, and if Mary E. turned out to be correct, if Smile.dog came to me in my dreams demanding I spread the word, what would I do? Would I live my life as Mary had, fighting against the urge to give in until I died, or would I simply spread the word, eager to be put to rest? If I chose the latter route, how could I do it? Whom would I burden in? If I went through with my earlier intention to write a short article about smile.jpg, I decided I could attach it as evidence. And anyone who read the article, anyone who took interest, would be affected. And even assuming the smile.jpg attached to the email was genuine, would I be capricious enough to save myself in that manner? Could I spread the word? Yes. Yes, I could.
Guys, hope you enjoyed, and yes, what you see is a McDonald's napkin, because it's all I could find. Okay. Put this there. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. If you did, subscribe. I know this video was 23 minutes long, but it was worth it. I love you all. And bye.